Welcome to Marriott MBA Today. I'm your host, Dan Patton, and I'm joined here with a special guest. We've got Andy Gonzalez here today, and he's a senior here at BYU studying political science. So thank you very much for coming on the show today, Andy.
Thanks for having me.
Andy, I wanted to learn a little bit about your involvement in the 2012 election that we just had on November 6th here. Specifically, I know you were involved in some exit polling and so forth, and I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that process.
Certainly. So the BYU, the Utah College's exit poll has been in action since 1982. It was started under Professor Magleby here at BYU, and now it extends to 6 other colleges in the state. And we worked together to compile a survey, get a lot of volunteers together, and basically go on election day to understand why people vote in a certain way and to understand the vote trends here in Utah.
Okay, well, why don't you talk a little bit more about that? Just tell me about the process leading up to Election Day, some of the preparation that you guys do, how you deploy people out to the field on Election Day, how do you consolidate those results?
Sure. So here at BYU, for example, we work together with the Statistics Department, the Communications Department, and of course Political Science to initially get these committees together. We have a Public Relations Committee, a Recruitment and Training Committee, a Questionnaire Committee, and us in conjunction with 6 other schools initially begin by designing surveys or questionnaires to give out to voters. These questionnaires ask everything from who they're voting for president to why they chose to vote for a certain initiative or why they support healthcare reform and things like that. Beyond that, we helped plan out the recruiting and training of a lot of different volunteers throughout the state. This year we had about 600 volunteers from many different schools, and we're really grateful for their participation and their volunteer efforts. Once we do all those trainings at the different schools and all the recruiting, we basically get ready for Election Day. On Election Day, we start at 5:30 a.m. We go out to different polling locations. This year it was 130 locations. And our trained volunteers are there to hand out surveys to voters as they leave the polls. That's why it's called an exit poll. So as they exit, we give them the surveys and hope that with their cooperation we can get the most accurate results to understand the vote here in Utah.
Okay. So when you talk about accurate results, can you tell me how did you compare to, say, other pollsters here in the state of Utah?
Certainly. So this year we definitely were the most accurate exit poll in the state.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. We were also the only one in the state, but that is not to take credit away from us as well. We, I'll give you some examples of the accurate results that we got. And a lot of this came from the large sample size that we had throughout the state. A lot of credit could be given to the Statistics Department for designing all the different parameters for how we would survey and all the different locations that we'd go to ensure that it's a random sample and that it's large enough to encompass the demographics here in Utah. So for example, for president, the actual vote count was 72.8% for Governor Romney, 24.9% for President Obama, and our predictions found 73% and 25% for those.
That's
so it was
close.
Basically identical.
Right.
Same thing for the Senate race between Orrin Hatch and Scott Howell. They were identical, 65.2 to 65, 30.2 to 30%. So these are examples of how accurate the exit poll was this year. And we're really proud of that accomplishment.
And what organizations then were relying on you for this sort of data?
Various news organizations. I remember hearing stories on Election Day of different reporters being anxious to get the data that we wouldn't release until after 8 p.m. of course. I think it's very coveted information. It's now online, and it can be accessed for a variety of purposes. And like I said, it was the only statewide exit poll this year. And we're really happy to have had the collaboration of many different actors in the process.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Andy, thanks so much for coming on to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
This has been another episode of Marriott MBA Today, here with special guest Andy Gonzalez. Thank you again, and we hope you'll stay tuned for another great episode.